Eventually, I was just like, hey, unless you're like actually ready to have a relationship and fix things, then we're not going to talk anymore. He came back a couple of days later and texted me. He's like, hey, I've been like thinking about what you've been saying. I forgive you. Please forgive me. I was like, forgive me for what? Like, I told Dad that if he doesn't change and he can't take accountability, then I just won't ever see him again. And I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Monday, October 14th, 2024. You know what's amazing is you can watch 1 week of Sister Wives and feel like the kids don't understand what's going on, or they are somehow not getting help that they need. And then the next week you can see an episode of Kody's son, Gabriel, sharing with his mother what he's learned through therapy because he is getting help to recover from what's happened with his father and the decimation of his family. And you realize that there are actually children in this family that are learning about narcissistic abuse and the ramifications of it and how to manage and cope with someone that has narcissism, and recognizing signs and lack of accountability and blaming, and coming to a place of understanding where they are at peace with the fact that they know that it's okay if they move on. And if their dad doesn't take accountability, they can move on with peace, because at the end of the day, they can only take care of themselves and they can only be responsible for themselves. And Gabriel did not hold back, was very succinct in his feelings about his father, very logical and pragmatic. And also, he has both Kody and Robyn completely pegged. And if you want to be honest, what is the biggest enemy of a narcissist? The people that can see through them, the people that have them pegged, that know who they are. A narcissist will do whatever they can to cover up the truth, to protect their fragile egos of who they think they are and the image that they present to others. And their biggest nemesis are those that know the truth. And Gabriel knows the truth, and Kody's kids that he has with Janelle clearly know the truth, and that's why they are estranged. This is a pretty significant conversation, and I'll share some of the details that Gabriel shared.
I think it would take Dad really setting things straight, and I think that would take an act of God. So
I don't really know what Kody wants. The last I knew, he really just thinks the kids should, let him be their patriarch to the way that Kody and Robyn see the world. And I think that's how my kids perceive it too. And they just don't want any part of that.
Janelle is just dead wrong about me and patriarchy. I've never been patriarchal. I've never behaved patriarchal.
Gabriel doesn't think that his dad will change. And he basically just says, like, it would take an act of God, meaning like it wasn't going to happen because it would be impossible. You would need a miracle. And Janelle goes back to the whole loyalty thing where Kody started pounding his chest about patriarchy and obedience and being loyal and having to conform to his rules and his way of life and his viewpoint. And she even said, like, they have to conform to the way that Kody and Robyn think, which is more conservative than they think, right? And then Cody's like, I never was a patriarch, which is such bull. Kody has to say this, or else his entire show and the lie that he's told for all these years that polygamy isn't patriarchal and that there isn't abuse in a polygamy and that women have a choice, he's lying to protect that lie. He has always been a patriarch. He has always been demanding of the women and wanting things a certain way. And he was the leader. I mean, all the way back to like early seasons, he was complaining about how he was stymied from being the leader and never was able to be the patriarch. And then he wants us to ignore that, like, for 3 seasons, he was yelling about how everyone needs to be obedient and conform and comply and be loyal. Like, it wasn't just one time when he was angry. He said this to Janelle numerous times. And so his kids are reacting to that. They're not reacting to him saying it once. But that's just Kody being a liar.
I mean, this isn't like a popular opinion in our family, but I think that he was doing right for the family members that he chose to be with, not for the family.
Well, I think a lot of the kids feel like there was some definite
favoritism,
considering one person's perspective way more than the other's needs.
I think so. And I mean, I think that he can say what he wants, but, you know, if it's brown and it stinks, it's probably...
You know, I actually agree with Gabriel about this because Kody always says that he made the rules for COVID. But I was rewatching an episode when Kody and Robyn were buying the house, the one that they live in now. And he literally lied to the lender and said that like they were struggling to decide to buy and it wasn't they that were struggling. It was Robyn that was struggling and Kody wanted to buy, but she was dragging her feet. But he took the blame for Robyn. And he says that he does that. He'll take the blame for her because he'd rather be the villain than her. So I truly believe that Robyn was paranoid because she's a hypochondriac and that's what she does. And she had a very different view about COVID than other people. And listen, this was a family that is not into the medical world. Many of the kids weren't vaccinated. Kody and Robyn aren't even vaccinated. And so for Kody and Robyn to take the position that they did is contrary to literally the reality of what their culture is. And I think Kody was doing this because Robyn wanted him to do it. And then he keeps saying that he made the rules, even though he's lying, which is why Gabriel says if it's brown and it smells, it's probably SHIT. Because he can say whatever he wants to say, but he's lying.
My children have really begun to express that they feel like COVID just presented an opportunity for their dad to do what he's been wanting to do for a long time, which was live and make a life with his favorite wife. I mean, let's not mince words. And their dad had been expressing things to them just off the cuff about, he wished that he would have waited and just married Robyn.
I never once told any of my children that I wish that I would have waited and just married Robyn. That's a misunderstanding that has become a gossip in the family.
Here's the problem with Kody, and there's many. There's actually proven on tape that he has said things like this, like on film, where he has said that he regrets marrying the other women, that he wishes he would have waited until he married Robyn. Literally on film, he has said this at tell-alls, on podcasts. He has made those exact statements. And then to lie and say that he didn't say it is just, he's gaslighting. And I can see why when the kids remove themselves from him, they can think more clearly and more pragmatically and logically. And what Kody fails to realize is that he wants his adult children to be like equals to him, that he wants them to be adults that are just like friends. And he can say things to them like, I never loved your mother and I only ever wanted to be with Robyn, and act like that wouldn't hurt a child. And could you imagine hearing as a child that your dad wishes he never would have been with your mom and wishes he would have waited until he met Robyn to get married and have kids? Basically saying like, I wish I never had you, because that's what he's saying. I wish I never had you as a child. He doesn't think and he doesn't care at all about what he says and how he says it. And now he's just mad that his own words are coming back to bite him. And then he just thinks he can lie his way out of it. It's honestly like his kids are so much better off away from him.
I think that Robyn definitely has a victim complex. I mean, to put it bluntly. I don't necessarily blame her for that. I think that different people devise different strategies to keep themselves afloat, but...
And I feel really bad about the kids because, I
miss having a relationship with all of them, but I don't blame them at all for following along party lines,
I wanted to share that part because Gabriel actually has been saying what I have been saying for a very long time. I know that people don't like Robyn and they think that she came into this family and didn't want polygamy. But there's this weird thing about this culture where it's like these girls are indoctrinated from a very young age that this is how they have to live. And they think they have to do this to get to heaven, okay? It doesn't mean they like it. It doesn't mean it's fun for them. It doesn't mean that every aspect of it is enjoyable. It's one thing to want something in the idea of it. It's a whole other part to live it. And there's a lot of conflict in there because they're told they have to do this. And then once they live it, it's hard and they have to share resources. And so some women develop maladaptive strategies to get what they want and what they need. And in Robyn's case, she learned from a young age from her mom that playing the victim got her the attention and the resources that she needed. So if she can play the victim to Kody and triangulate him against the other women and the kids, she gets what she wants. And so what he says is like, I can't fault her because it's how she's surviving, but I wouldn't do it. It's like feed or be fed, basically, in polygamy. There's a lot of women like Robyn. She is not an isolated person that does this in a family. There's a Robyn in almost every single family. She is a stereotype of a polygamous woman. That was her role, is like, I'm going to manipulate, I'm going to get what I need. And what I think is awesome, though, is that Janelle even gets to a point where she acknowledges that Robyn is triangulating. And she acknowledges that Robyn does take what they say and twists it. And Gabriel acknowledges that as long as she acts this way and plays the victim and acts like he mistreated her, he can never have a relationship with her.
My kids aren't really, there's a lot of anger towards Robyn. To say, when they say something or do something, she's going to twist it all around. That's how they feel about it.
If she actually believes that we were mistreating her or her children in any way, when she was constantly getting favorited by dad and we were always working on our relationship with her kids, if she actually believes that, then there's no chance of me having a relationship with Robyn ever again.
Gabriel was a child when he met Robyn. He was like 7 when Robyn came into the family, 7 or 8, meaning he was a kid, first grade. Imagine being a first grader. Your dad has a girlfriend and she starts accusing you of mistreating her because you're not accepting her kids and you're bullying her kids. And then as you become an adult, she accuses you of not including her in things and kicking her off Brown Family Island and claiming that she has trauma because of you. All the while this is happening, you're a 7-year-old boy that's losing time with your father, attention from your father, resources. Some of your siblings are going to school wearing designer clothes, and others of you are wearing thrift store clothes. Some of you are eating out at restaurants that are 5-star. Others of you are lucky to go to McDonald's. It's the disparity of it. For Robyn to accuse these children of mistreating her when she was literally getting things that these kids desperately needed and taking resources from children. She's very manipulative, and so conniving. And then to turn it and be like, you're actually the bad guy, I'm the victim. She's doing a Darvo tactic where she's reversing victim perpetrator. She perpetrated this on the family, and then she's making the family feel like they're the ones that perpetrated this on her. It's disgusting and it's narcissistic. And Janelle even points this out.
I don't have a lot of respect for Robyn, so it's hard for me to rationalize some of her actions. And then maybe that's the reason that she's like, oh, you've always hated us, is because she doesn't have our respect anymore, because she does like that.
I don't know what really happened there, but they feel like there was a lot of triangulation, like ego stroking, like manipulation.
So she says that the kids feel like there was triangulating by Robyn of Kody by grooming his ego and manipulating him. And she did. She definitely groomed his ego, and she definitely like stroked the ego, and she would remind him what a great man he was. And she really fed into the fact that he has an ego, right? And that's how she was able to gain favor with him, by reminding him how awesome he was. And then she scapegoated his kids by making them bad and bringing them into a conflict that they weren't a part of to diffuse any conflict that she might have or have caused. So if she's doing something to someone, she might scapegoat those kids as the bad kids so that he ignores what's happening with her kids, right? Like if she makes Kody's kids with Janelle the bad kids, he will ignore what her kids are doing. Her kids are the good kids. If she scapegoats Janelle and Christine's kids this way, Kody then is picking a side between Robyn and the kids. Now, I want to be clear, like, I think both Kody and Robyn triangulate. Kody pits the women against each other. He tells stories about the women to one another. He fully embraces Robyn as his golden child, like the golden wife, the favored wife, and all the other women that aren't obedient are scapegoated. And so it's just a gaslighting technique. It's a manipulation tactic for Robyn to get what she wants. she's able to paint someone else as bad so that she gets what she needs and gets her needs met and deflects so that she isn't held accountable for what she's doing. And in reality, her kids could have also been a part of the unhealthy dynamic and said things to each other or said things to the other kids that weren't nice either. And Robyn was definitely excluding herself so that she could have Kody all the time, but then deflects and says that she's being excluded from anything. She's being kicked off Brown Family Island, when in reality is she's choosing not to be a part of it. But to avoid accountability, she victimizes herself. It's just a game to manipulate Kody. And Kody, for whatever reason, is allowing himself to be manipulated by her when he himself is a master manipulator. It's actually weird that she can pull this over him. But, you know, a good 10 years younger and some booty can make a man do strange things, I guess.
I don't know what his beef is with me. I think it's because I literally sat him down and had a conversation about it and he just couldn't handle the fact that I was calm and collected and said, hey, you're hurting this family, no one else. And he's like, you're something like, you're not loyal just like your mother. And I was like, okay.
This conversation never happened.
I have no doubt that Gabriel had a conversation with his dad off camera like this, but he had one on camera like this too, where he was at Coyote Pass. It was after Garrison had left and they were stripping logs, and Gabriel sat down with his dad and was trying to talk with him about how he was hurting the family. And he felt like the rules and what he was doing was being, it was dividing the family and causing pain to the kids and to the wives. And Kody basically compared him to Janelle, and he called Janelle the Teflon Queen and said that Janelle always avoids accountability and deflects accountability and never takes any responsibility for her own actions. I mean, this was on camera. I think it was season 16. I don't know how Kody can forget this, but I grew up with a narcissist that loved to pretend like things like I remembered from my childhood didn't happen. Conversations I knew we had, statements I knew they made, and they would just be like, I don't remember. I don't know, that didn't happen. That's not how I remember it. You wanted to do that. That's what you wanted. That's what you said, not what I said, right? Kody's doing the same thing. And Robyn does the same thing too. Robyn always goes, I don't remember. This doesn't make sense. Like, if they can't win an argument, they will just pretend like it didn't happen, or they have a foggy memory, selective amnesia.
But how are you doing, Mom?
I'm all right. Everything is really good. I'm happy. Really, really happy.
I mean, it's not easy, though.
I stuck it out because you guys were still home and all that. And then when he no longer was a really great father, it's kind of like I had the ability to go do something different. I am glad you did seek out counseling on your own, and I thought that was really smart.
I think a lot of us need it.
I do too. I actually think we all need it.
I mean, you don't just go through your family crumbling to bits and not need therapy.
I'm glad that Gabriel has gotten therapy and he has a counselor and a therapist that he can talk to about this, and that they can remind him that it's not his fault and that he can't change Kody, and Kody can decide if he wants to keep doing this or not. Kody would be very resistant to therapy. He's unlikely to change. Narcissists generally only get worse with age. And when they have a narcissistic injury like what Kody has, he just is going to get more delusional, more unhinged, more vindictive, more malignant. And Gabriel actually sounds like he's in a good place at this point. This is before Garrison passes away. This is 2022. I know a lot of people keep saying that this stuff was filmed after Garrison passed away. It is not. This was filmed in 2022. And they at least was getting help. And Janelle acknowledging that they all need help and they all need therapy. And I hope that behind the scenes they're getting therapy, because they're using words like they're going to therapy, which is a good thing. I don't know if Christine is doing therapy, but it sounds like Janelle might be. And it sounds like her kids have a pretty good understanding of who Kody is and how to manage him and what boundaries to put up. And going no contact with a narcissist is sometimes the best thing to do. Unfortunately, with the show, Kody can still respond and he can still say things about them. He can still lie and smear them and still paint them as the villains. And at the end of the day, it's a Kody that looks like terrible, not them. I can't think of a lot of fathers that could do the atrocious things that Kody has done and go on a national television to an audience and blame his children. for his choices, his actions, and what he did. And then to say, well, it's not my fault I didn't love your mother. I should have married Robyn. That is just so mean and so cruel. But I'm with Gabriel. He's smart to not want to have a relationship with either Kody and Robyn, and he's probably better off without them. Honestly, way better off without them, because the less interaction they have with him, the less stories these two can make up about him. So are you on the same page with Robyn and Kody? And do you think Gabriel is on the right track? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.